Alpha shakes her head, cracking her neck several times. Alpha breaks free of Gamma's grip and sprints toward 5967 and licks it. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today we bring you SCP Foundation Keter Class Object SCP-5967. SCP-5967 includes 5-meter-tall pillars composed of unidentified musculature and eyeball-like organs. The instances first originated in Lyndhurst, New Jersey. 5967 is capable of speech, despite lacking vocal components. Members of a group known as the Commune were able to radically influence the hume levels of Lyndhurst and its surrounding towns, generating substantial amounts of latent reality. 5967 allowed the Commune's leadership figures, Caesar Winters and Salem Steros, to establish and maintain control over the minds of local residents. Affected individuals were susceptible to remote influences by Winters or Steros. All established methods to regain control over the affected subjects from either party have been proven ineffective. On August 23, 2018, Salem Steros, along with several additional members of the Commune, were discovered holding hands in a circular pattern around 5967. Foundation agents observed the members of the Commune approach the 5967 instances, kneel down, and proceed to lick 5967 several times before returning to their location within the circle. Steros was taken back to the Foundation for questioning. A junior researcher, Umar Hadid, volunteered to interview Steros.
Look, man, why don't you just let me out of here so I can get back out there with Caesar and spread the truth?
Steros puts his fingers on his temples and rubs them in a circular motion. I'm still not quite sure who or what she is. She is a goddess, one that is actively trying to mess with us. And you and me, we are not ready for that. No one on Earth is. Why?
Because that's her thing.
You and Caesar have been performing anomalous rituals for well over…
Look, if I got up and murdered you right now, it was because she wanted it to happen.
And when she gets here and we can't see her, well, that's just bad news bears for everyone. I'm trying to save people. What about you? How would seeing this entity be good for anyone? Loyalty. I mean, think about it. Who in their right mind would lick a pillar made of meat and bones for fun? I don't think anyone would. But how did you figure this out? Me and Caesar? Well, we were just stargazing in the Meadowlands after a show one night. It was nice to get away from the city every once in a while and just take in the view. We would do that sometimes. We just lay back and chill like we were kids again. Then we heard her voice for the first time, and she told us about the truth. She said she wanted to come home, but that the way was broken and she needed our help. After we learned the truth, we knew that something had to be done. But you can't make a cake without breaking a few eggs. We'll all be eggs in her massive cake, you see. But maybe some of us will get to eat it too. I'd hardly call turning people into meat pillars saving them. I don't expect you to understand. You can't see things like we do. Caesar's doing the Lord's work and you'll never find him. We've received reports of SCP-5967 manifestations in the area. Agents have already been dispatched to stop Caesar. He'll be here within the week. We'll see. Since February 14, 2020, there were 18 additional manifestations of 5967 across Bergen County, New Jersey. Similar reports from undercover Foundation agents countywide confirmed that Caesar Winters was responsible for the creation of the instances. MTF Lambda-5 encountered Winters in the Meadowlands, a remote field located in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Leader of MTF Lambda-5, Alpha, signals Beta and Gamma to form a loose circle surrounding Winters and his group. Winters begins gesticulating at 5967, forming wide circles with his arms. The ocular organs on 5967 follow the motion of Winters' arms before abruptly snapping in the direction of Alpha. Winters chuckles. The other individuals surrounding 5967 share a monotone, synchronous laugh, all at once. Alpha tells Winters to surrender, but he refused to. Alpha signals to Delta, who fires a shot into Winter's head. Winters falls instantly. A member of the group begins to violently convulse before bending over and vomiting eyeballs. A tear forms at the base of their neck. From the wound, the face of Caesar Winters appears. After several seconds, the original head is detached and is replaced by that of Winters' own. MTF Lambda-5 fires upon the commune for 15 seconds, resulting in the termination of everyone present. Alpha approaches the 5967 instance and prepares to contact the containment team, but she stops after hearing a weird sound. The bodies of the commune begin convulsing before levitating by their necks. MTF backs away. They have their rifles trained on the floating corpses. The chest cavity of Winters bulges as if something were trapped underneath. Moments later, it bursts, spraying viscera and sending eyeballs flying toward the direction of all three members of MTF Lambda-5. Alpha shakes her head, cracking her neck several times. She drops her gun and falls to her knees. Beta fires upon the corpses, while Gamma approaches Alpha and pulls her away. Alpha breaks free of Gamma's grip and sprints toward 5967 and licks it. The floating corpses accelerate toward Beta and Gamma at high speed. Gamma is able to successfully avoid a number of corpses by rolling away. Beta, however, is struck multiple times. Gamma aims her gun at the floating corpses. Gamma looks at Alpha, who has stopped licking 5967. As Alpha turns to face Gamma, her eyes roll into the back of her head. She cocks her head to the side and smiles. Alpha runs at Gamma with arms outstretched. Gamma shouts, but is ignored. Using a nearby rock, Alpha knocks Gamma's helmet off. She holds open Gamma's eyelids and licks her eyeball. Gamma screams. Alpha looks to the sky. "I can see you! I can see everything now!" After failing to apprehend Caesar Winters, a containment team was dispatched following Gamma's call. The team was able to secure 5967, Alpha, and Gamma. Gamma was treated at Site-83's medical ward before being awarded a Silver Lion badge and a 2-week vacation. Alpha was psychologically screened upon her return to Site-83. After a 2-week period without any anomalous activity or hostile thoughts from Alpha, she was cleared for an interview with junior researcher Umar Hadid. Halfway through the interview, both of them began to feel something odd and peculiar happening to their bodies. Alpha begins to cough. She rises and turns her back to J.R. Hadid. Suddenly, Alpha vomits an eyeball into her hands. She turns and looks at J.R. Hadid, who is disturbed. "Tell me, Hadid, are you a fifthist now? Are you ready to see the truth?" J.R. Hadid exits the room, sealing it behind him. Alpha attempts to break through the glass, but is unable to. Alpha paces in circles in the center of the room. She draws several signals of unknown origin on the walls and floor. She then proceeds to light a candle through anomalous means. "Here's the truth, Mr. Hadid." There is a bright flash of light from the sigils. An unknown quadrupedal entity emerges from the floor and attacks Alpha. The entity and Alpha merge once contact is established. Alpha is no longer distinguishable, as her body contorts into a mass of flesh, muscle, and eyes. The mass extends upward until it reaches a height of approximately 7 meters tall.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. For a moment, I thought my mind was playing tricks on me. Thought I was experiencing oxygen deprivation in my brain or something. God, I wish that was the case. It wasn't. When I spent the weekend with some friends at a cabin in the woods that was supposedly haunted, I was the only one who wasn't frightened in the slightest. I even went so far as to purposefully scare them from time to time. It was all harmless fun. So where the hell did that thing come from? How was it possible? What the hell could it even be? These questions ran through my mind as I hid beneath my sleeping bag while observing a truly horrifying sight. From the windows came extremely grotesque, barnacle-encrusted tentacles with decayed human hands at the tips. I watched as these tentacled hands floated over to the heads of each of my friends and spread their palms wide open. From the center of each hand, a fleshy spike made of bone shot out and pierced their skulls. None of them could even manage a yelp. At the very least, I hoped they didn't feel any pain since they were asleep when it happened. The hands then grasped my friends' heads as the tentacles floated quietly back out the windows from where they came. After a few terrifying minutes, thinking those sinewy tentacles would come back, I decided in my shock-ridden brain to go outside. Probably the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life. From the deck of the cabin, I watched my friends' bodies being pulled to a gargantuan floating mass far in the sky. What was the mass? Human appendages, skin, organs, bones, you name it. And my friends were apparently going to be added to the collection. My knees gave out and I fell backwards to the ground. I couldn't do anything but stare at that crime against nature. Can't believe after 2 decades and a little more, I'm working for some organization that's responsible for keeping all these weird stuff in check. And to top it all off, I'm getting put in charge of my childhood nightmare. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today, we bring you SCP Foundation Keter Class Object SCP-5897. SCP-5897, also known as Mother's Eye is Upon You, is a colossal mass of fused human corpses with an estimated weight of 500,000 pounds. By some unknown method, this gross amalgamation of corpses is able to float and travel at around 40 miles per hour. Despite possessing the ability to travel, it appears to only stay within the realm of 9,000 feet above the Earth's surface. Jutting out from the central mass are countless numbers of tentacle-esque appendages, covered in sea barnacles and something resembling hands for grabbing. These tentacles are used to quickly ensnare their prey, humans, and add them to the central mass. It is believed by the Foundation that 3897 possesses a certain level of sentience, as it only targets humans that fill a certain criteria, namely individuals who are in a state of deep mental and emotional anguish. During the hunt, 3897 will usually capture its targets when they are sleeping. Why it targets individuals in this way is completely unknown. However, it should be noted that 3897 will only target individuals living in generally secluded areas. Curiously enough, from time to time, 3897 will eject items or objects from its own fleshy mass. So far, it has mostly ejected decaying fish and thousands of linked molted shells of a variety of arachnids and insects. But the most disturbing were several living human fetuses with their umbilical cords fused together. Tissues from the central mass have been taken, as 3897 will not demanifest if approached in a non-threatening manner. How it is able to exit and enter our reality is still baffling Foundation researchers. The tissues, however, are composed of human flesh, seawater, and unknown genetic materials. As a defense mechanism, 3897 will emit from its assortment of mouths and maws a gas that is similar to mustard gas in nature and human blood. It will use this mist to teleport itself anywhere it desires, instead of fading into nothingness. The oddest thing about 3897 is that it is constantly emitting radio waves despite not having any mechanical parts that could do so. Most of the transcribed radio transmissions were of people talking in a variety of known and unknown languages. Where 3897 is seen, SCP-3889 is sure to be present some 15 miles away from it. SCP-3889 is an elderly fisherman who resides in numerous places alongside the eastern coast of the United States. Every time 3889 goes fishing, he reels in various oddities from the water. Unfortunately, his catches usually result in casualties. For instance, 3889 once retrieved an entity that resembled a human corpse in its advanced state of decomposition, with tentacles emerging from the entity's back and neck. It was immediately engaged by patrolling Foundation naval assets. By lashing the vessels with its limbs and tentacles, the entity inflicted significant damage upon the fleet. The conflict resulted in the loss of 107 Foundation lives. When apprehended by Agent Danielle Torres, 3889 shook his head and let out a sigh. "You can't bottle a squall, son," he said and vanished. Every single damn time. I'm just about done with this old man. And that's what she would say every time. Torres approached 3889 one day. He was sitting with his legs dangling over a pier and his fishing pole next to him. He noticed her and waved to acknowledge her presence. "Hey there, young lady. Quite the lovely evening we've got going on here, eh? How beautiful the sea looks with the sun perched right above it like that. Coming back to capture me again?" Agent Torres shook her head dejectedly. Well then, Miss Torres, take a load off. Come sit with me and enjoy the sunset." She approached 3889 and sat next to him. In the distance, 3897 was hovering above a town behind them. A team of Foundation personnel was engaging in intercepting the objects ejected from the entity. "And there she goes, spewing her guts out again. Hate to be the rest of my team right now. Picking up those disgusting discharge can be unpleasant, to say the least." They sat together, admiring the sunset for a while. "I have questions." "Well, I don't figure a pretty young lady like you would simply hang around an old man like me for fun. Shoot. Are you aware that those creatures you reel in kill lots of people?" 3889 put his fishing rod aside and lit up a cigarette. He took a deep drag and said, "Of course I know, but trust me when I say that I wish it didn't have to be that way. I do my best, you know? I try to reel them in where there ain't a lot of folks, minimize the death and destruction. See? Then why continue doing it? You know all too well your next catch might be another disaster, yet you do it anyway. It makes no sense to me." "Because I know you and the boys back home can handle it. Tell me, Torres, haven't you folks managed to put down every single creature I've reeled in?" "Well, yes, but you could have just avoided bringing them here altogether in the first place. Also, what's with that giant floating mountain of flesh that appears whenever you indulge in your hobby?" 3889 looked towards the sun and grinned. "Yeah, that thing ain't like me much, I guess. The catches are getting worse, and now she's watching me. Look." 3889 took another drag and motioned his head towards 3897. They looked at the floating entity, and the entity's massive eye looked back at them. Agent Torres shivered and quickly averted her gaze. "I've seen this thing when I was a kid. Saw it abducting my friends during a sleepover. Its frickin' eye and everything scarred me for life. Hell, even now, though I'm in charge of leading a team to investigate this flying flesh ball, I'm glad that someone like you is related to that thing. At least I don't have to deal with it directly. You know, all those monsters and creatures that I pulled out of the water can create a bit of trouble. Those are the babies. Someone has to slay them, and that's your job. My job is to find them, see? Don't get me wrong, the monsters scare the living hell out of me, but I can't give up any more than you can." "Oh, what do you mean? Who do you work for?" No, it's nothing like that. It ain't about getting paid, see? It ain't a clever man or someone who's in it for the glory. I do it because I care about human lives, and these ugly bastards from who knows where stand against that." "Then if we're gonna work together, you should just come with me." When Torres turned to look at 3889, he was already gone. Frustrated, she got up and kicked his fishing gear into the water. "Damn it, not again." She looked back towards the floating entity. Its eye was darting around as if looking for its next victim to be snatched away. Responsibility, huh? Agent Torres stood up and called her team. "All right, I can't keep running away from it forever. Team, what's your status? I'll be there in 5 minutes." Being a police officer for nearly 10 years, James has experienced the worst the job can offer. One day, he was assigned to investigate an area with a partner. It was just a simple investigation. A couple people went missing in the vicinity, but something about the case unsettled him deeply. Why were the cars still running while empty? It's a densely forested area. Where could the passengers have gone to? What lurks within the forest? It was a long and dark night. It had been 4 hours. James and his partner were investigating the case on road. Suddenly, a vintage-looking car sped up from behind and caught up to them. They couldn't see the driver's face even though James shone his flashlight on the car. Before they could do anything, the driver extended his hand out through the window. It turned, and on it, there were 2 human eyes staring right at them. James had seen it all, or so he thought. And at that moment, he knew he couldn't have been more wrong. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today, we bring you a SCP Foundation Euclid Class Object SCP-3470. SCP-3470, also known as Harry Potter's Revenge, is a predatory organism that relies on mimicry in its hunts and its prey, humans. 3470 specifically mimic the appearance of cars of vintage model, with a driver whose face is obscured by the perpetually fogged windshield. When hunting prey, it will extend the driver's left hand and make driving signals. On its palm, there are two human eyes embedded on it, and they appear to react and operate the same way as normal human eyes. 3470 is a nocturnal hunter. It patrols roadways and its territory, which overlaps part of Cibola National Forest in New Mexico, in search of solitary cars. Once it identifies a prey, it will catch up to them, pass them, and then force them to slow down and stop with hand gestures. Before it attacks, 3470 will rotate the hand so its prey can see its palm, as well as the eyes embedded on them. It is still unclear what purpose the eyes serve in hunting their prey. That is as far as the Foundation knows about its hunting behavior. As for its method of attack and consumption of prey remain a mystery. There were reports of empty automobiles with engines still running and the passengers were nowhere to be found. All these reports share two things in common. The same tire tracks were mentioned, and there were blue specks of paint on trees surrounding the missing person's cars. 2 police officers were dispatched to the area for investigation and disappeared in a similar manner. However, at the time of their disappearance, they were still in radio contact with other officers, and the description of 3470 has caught the Foundation's attention, especially the hand of the driver. And thus an investigation was conducted by the Foundation. 2 D-Class personnel, dubbed D01 and D13, were assigned to investigate 3470. They were dispatched at dusk in an off-road vehicle to attract the attention of 3470. The mission was to look for 3470, and once it appears, shoot it with piercing rounds which were modified to include GPS beacon so it can be tracked. It was getting dark fast as they cruised along the road. Soon, they observed a car's lights in the distance. As they moved closer, the car changed its direction so that it was driving along the same road as them. Follow that vehicle. Get closer to it. D13, get ready to shoot the vehicle if necessary, said Command. They accelerated to catch up to the unidentified vehicle, which in turn appeared to be slowing down. As it got closer, the D-Class's vehicle headlights illuminated the vehicle properly. It was a turquoise color car of a vintage model. Upon quick inspection, they couldn't find the license plate or any means of identification aside from the car's model and color. Through the apparently foggy interior of the car, they could only see that there was only the driver in it. Suddenly, the car stopped abruptly about 20 meters away from the D-Class, forcing them to brake sharply. "Whoa, what the? Learn how to drive, man!" he yelled. A hand extended from the driver's side of the car and made a stop hand gesture. "Little too late for that now, isn't it?" And slowly, the hand rotated and showed a pair of human eyes on the palm. They darted around and blinked once, then shifted its attention to the D-Class. "That's the anomaly. Tag it!" But before D13 could point his rifle at the car, it began to reverse, leaving D01 no choice but to reverse as well. D13 leaned out of the window and took shots at the anomaly, but the bumpiness of the road severely affected his aim. All the while, 3470's hand remained outside the car window, making a stop hand gesture, the eyes fixed intently on the D-Class. With the mission held with the utmost importance, the command ordered D01 to slow down so D13 could hit the anomaly. "No way I'm slowing down. I'm not about to let it catch up to us and find out what the hell it's gonna do to us," yelled D01 as he stepped on the pedal with all his might. Eventually, after some time of pursuit, D13 managed to hit 3470 twice. The anomaly emitted a loud screeching sound like a car performing an emergency brake and slowed down. D01 did not, however. And soon, 3470's lights slowly faded into the distance and disappeared completely from view. After that, having accomplished their mission, the D-Class drove back to the base without a scratch, and conversation as well. The investigation did not end there, as D-13 proved to be a decent marksman. He had successfully tagged 3470 with the GPS beacon, which allowed the MTF Lambda-12 to track it to its nest. Its pattern of movement suggested that 3470 only comes out at night, as the beacon stayed consistently at the same location while the sun was up. Soon, a 6-man Lambda-12 team was dispatched to investigate the nest. The nest was a small cave in a forest near where D-01 and D-13 encountered 3470. They set up near the nest and monitored the beacon signal. As the sun set, the beacon moves away from the location of the cave. 3470 was out for a hunt. They moved towards the cave quickly. While L5 and L6 remained on watch outside, the rest of the team proceeded into the cave. The interior of the cave smelled like feces and diesel, unpleasant smells that hinted at biological and industrial activities, and maybe the anomaly's diet. As they advanced, L3 accidentally stepped into a scat pile. Although disgusted, he shone his flashlight on the pile. Among the dark black goopy mess, several small white fragments were poking out of it. They realized that those were in fact human bones. What's more, they have also found a police badge among the bones. The team advanced deeper and deeper into the cave, until finally they came upon a clutch of eggs. They could see a 4-legged organism trying to wriggle in the eggs through its translucent shells. They collected the half of the egg, and half of them were incinerated by L1 with his flamethrower. As they were leaving, 3470 came into view and blocked the entrance at the exit of the cave. L1 anxiously contacted command, but received no reply. In front of them, 3470 was revving its engine furiously, as if it was preparing to run into them in full speed. At that moment, the anomaly's hand appeared from the driver's side window, and its eyes blinked repeatedly at the squad. L3 immediately emptied his rifle's magazine at the hand, and one of the tranquilizer darts found its mark and hit 3407 squarely in its right eye. The dart must have caused intense pain to the anomaly, as it made an ear-piercing screeching sound and then reversed out of the cave. As the squad exited the cave, L5 and L6 were missing. Not a single trace of them were found anywhere near the location. But before they returned to base, the team realized something. Wasn't 3470 supposed to be, turquoise, right? That one was black. That could mean one thing. Either 3470 was able to mimic and change its color and potentially the model of car or even different objects, or that there were more than just one entity of 3470. Or maybe both. Before we end this video, we are proud to present these incredibly sweet pieces of fan art. A big thank you to all of you. You can now send us your fan art, and we will be more than happy to show off your best art piece in our next video. Check out our description below on how to submit. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Which SCP do you want to see in the next video, and why it is interesting? Let us know in the comment below. We will draw your story and share it with the world. Don't forget to click like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell. Please share it to your friends if you like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.